What's up, guys? It's Joe with Hendo Daily, and we are going to take a look at everything I had inside the Maxpedition Mini Pico Micro. One of the three, take your pick. This is everything I had in here and down on the bench inside of one of my dump trays. So a lot of this was part of my work EDC pouch. Basically, all the tools here, minus the Loctite, the Blue Lube, everything right here, and then the SOG Power Pint. Everything else, sorry, and this. Everything else was all inside of this pouch. And it sat in my work bag, and I kept everything in there because it was just kind of what I threw together. And obviously, looking at this now, I see a lot of the redundancies. So what I want to do today is I want to leave all of my knife maintenance tools and everything I would use, whether it's, the oils or the Torx bits, anything like that. I want to leave all that out down here on the workbench, and I want to go through and repack my Maxpedition to be a genuine what I need or think I might need in a pinch work pouch. So this lives in my work bag. I keep it in my work bag. So I want to pack it out with the right stuff. And this has been an ongoing battle for a long time now of what I would carry in my EDC pouch. I also had a bunch of pens and mini Sharpies as well. So this has been an ongoing battle. I have swapped out tools, swapped out maintenance gear, anything and everything. And I feel like my EDC pouch is constantly changing. And it might still continue to constantly change. I don't know. It just depends on over time what I think I need, what I actually need, and kind of tuning and refining what goes into the pouch that's going to be useful and what can stay down here on the workbench that I know I'll need. So 2 pairs of adjustable pliers is not necessary in one pouch. That along with, a mini multi-tool, the SOG Power Pint, that's just another set of pliers plus all the tools that come with it. We had 2 ratcheting, 2 mini ratchets. We had the right angle ratchet driver with the bit extender. These were an Amazon find that I picked up for $10. Then we had the 7-Eleven mini ratcheting system that comes with the actual ratchet and 2 extenders. One you can use to extend the handle, one you can use to extend the actual bit itself. Then we had some Victorinox scissors. We had a little pry tool, mini big lighter. Always got Band-Aids around. Those are just necessary at this point. We've got this is the 7-Eleven case that the ratchet system came in, but I've got all my extra WeHa bits in there. So everything from flatheads, different size flatheads, different size Phillips, different size Torx bits, all those in there. And then honestly, probably my favorite, the Naps bit driver. This thing is just super smooth. I use this the most whenever I'm working on a knife, whether it's taking it apart, tighten things up, whatever the case is. That is my most used bit driver, hands down. And then all the pens and Sharpies that are just floating around. So what I want to do is actually build out this pouch with a knife, a light, a couple of tools, some writing utensils, and a bit driver. And that's about it. And that's all I really want to keep in this that stays in my work bag. So I got a few things in mind. And I've stretched out the elastic on this quite a bit, so we're going to see what fits where. But like I said, I want to get a secondary knife, some kind of multi-tool or pliers, so one of these 3, and then a bit driver, maybe a couple other tools. Something that will live in my work bag that I can keep, whether it's in there or whether it's in the center console of my car. Most likely it's just going to stay in my work bag. So as far as the light goes, I'm thinking either my Wuben X2 Pro or the Wuben G5, just because of the versatility of these, the level of brightness that these get to. I'm kind of leaning towards the G5 just because this is one of my favorite EDC lights. And if I don't carry it in my pocket, I've usually got it around somewhere handy. So I'm thinking I'm going to carry this into the work pouch. So something as simple as that, a backup light. And then as far as the bit driver, I do like this right angle driver, but I don't like the excess space that all the bits take up, especially when I don't use all of the bits. So I'm kind of thinking that's why I'll stick with the 711 mini ratchet, because it can store a bit in where the actual bit goes in the bottom of the handle and one in each of the extenders. So I can carry up to a max of 4 bits that aren't just going to be loose floating around. So right now I've got a flathead, I've got a Phillips, and I've got 2 of the Torx bits. One is the T6, T7, the other is a T8, T9. I think, or I might have that backwards. Yeah, so this is the T8, T9. T8's typically for the pivot screw on most of my knives, and then the T6, T5, and T6. Let's see. Sorry, T6 and T7. And then obviously that T6 is going to fit most of the body screws of my knives. So that's kind of why I want to keep just this in there, because I've got the 2 Torx bits that I'll need. I've got a flathead and I've got a Phillips. And then, like I said, these can also be snapped into each other to make a longer handle, or it can even be snapped in up here as a bit extender. So it can either go in as a bit extender like this, or if you line up these notches on it, and I've mentioned this in the review video I did, you can push that all the way through for a good T-handle bit driver. So these are going to stay in the work pouch for sure, just because these are really the only 4 bits that I need is the T6, T8, flathead, and the Phillips. That's going to get most of the job done of whatever I might need for that. So those are going to go back in there. And I'm going to leave this right angle ratchet driver here down on the workbench, probably up in the dump tray. Then as far as a plier system goes, if I'm also going to carry an additional knife, or kind of a secondary blade, I don't think I'll need or want the mini multi-tool, the SOG Power Pine. I'm probably going to stick with my Work Pro 4-inch pliers, just because I like the adjustment style a lot better than these, and I think they're a little bit smoother to use. I can get a better grip on them, even though the handle is slightly shorter on the Work Pro than the Crescent. I feel like I can get a better grip on these, and I want to get some like the shrink plastic, heat plastic, whatever that's called, to put around the handles on there, just for some extra grip. They're not super slippery or anything bad right now, but it's just going to add a little bit more grip whenever I am using these. So the Work Pro is going to go in there. I go back and forth on a lighter. I really don't use one. If I'm cutting strings off my uniform, I'm doing that. I'm using a knife. Maybe it would be easier to singe the extra strings on my uniform or my boot and have some type of fire source. So I'm kind of back and forth on that right now. Band-aids are obviously going to go back in there. I've got some down in the the toolbox, but I always keep some handy in the pouch as well. And then in regards to any type of lubrication for knife maintenance, the 2 bigger bottles are going to stay down here on the workbench as well, just because that's going to take up a lot of room. So I'm going to end up keeping the nano oil in my pouch as well, just because it's a smaller tube. If I'm doing any work down here in the basement, I'll have my blue lube and the cleaner and oil from this one as well. So the nano oil is going to go in there. And then the only other thing, mini G2, mini Sharpie, just because again, saves room in the mini pouch as well. But outside of that, as far as the knife that I'm going to keep in there, I want to keep something small, again, to not take up too much room, be a secondary knife if I need it, something tough, but also not taking up a lot of space. So for that, I'm looking at either the Civivi Yonder or the Civivi Elementum. I think these are my two choices because of the size of them. I like the overall design. I want to carry something I like. You know, you've got 14C28N on the Yonder, and then you've got D2 on the. Wow, why did I just blank out on that? Then you've got D2 here. So, uh, honestly, I think just because of overall size, I'm going to go with the Civivi Elementum just because it's a little bit longer blade. I like D2 steel, and I really haven't carried this one as much after I first got it. So I'm going to keep this one in there as my secondary knife, backup knife or whatever. I think I'm gonna throw the Bic in there too. That would go in last if I absolutely don't have room, but I can't see not having any room for a mini Bic lighter. So that's what all is gonna go in there. So this is all gonna go off to the side. The Loctite, I'm gonna keep that at home as well, just because if I got a loose screw, and I've got a couple of them, but if I've got a loose screw or something on a knife, 9 times out of 10, it can wait until I get home because I'll have the Torx bits to tighten that up until I can get home and throw some Loctite on it. So that'll stay down here with the rest of the knife maintenance tools. Everything else is going to the side. So what we've got to pack out is Band-Aids, flashlight, bit driver set, mini pliers, some writing utensils, a knife, a light, and some oil. So that is what I'm going to throw into the Maxpedition Micro or Pico. Again, I don't remember which one I got, but that's going to go into the mini EDC pouch. So we'll pack this out, see what all we can get in here, see what fits best where. But I really think this will be the next trial setup that I have. So the pins, writing utensils, I've always kept up front here in this mesh pocket. And I think for saving space, I think the lighter can fit up there pretty well too. Hopefully once it's kind of packed out, this feels a little loose right now, but that's just because it's empty and everything's stretched out. So with that, we'll go ahead and throw the nano oil in here. Put that in the middle just because it's the longest and that's where we got the most room. Then we'll throw the Work Pro 4-inch mini pliers on this side. We'll throw some Band-Aids in this back pouch. We'll throw them behind the knife and light. And then as for the ratchet driver, I think I could probably get the 2 extenders in there and then just slip the other one in this back pouch back here. And there we go. Roughly 10 minutes to kind of sort through what I already had. Some stuff in here, some stuff not. But this will be the next setup for my mini EDC pouch. So this will live in my work bag. I keep it on the side, water bottle pocket on the outside of the bag. It slides right in there, it stays in there. We've got a lighter, we've got 2 writing utensils. We've got a glow fob that I slid on there a while back. We've got some pliers, we've got some bits, we've got some oil, knife, and a light. Band-Aids, and then the main driver in the back. So this comparatively, and I should have taken a picture or shown you guys on video how it originally looked with everything else in here. It was absolutely insane. And so it was just everything thrown in there, fitting where it could, a lot of redundancies. And like even right now, part of me wants to throw my scissors or my pry tool in there. And I mean, I guess these could, but at the same time, I'm going back to just stuffing everything in there. So we'll leave these out for now. If for some reason throughout the day, and the only reason I might throw this in there too is because of the toothpicks and tweezers that's in there, as well as the bottle opener. Not opening a lot of bottles, but the pry tool can be useful. And I don't really want to use the flathead on this. Not that I think the bit can't handle it. Weehaw bits are pretty tough, but to have a dedicated pry tool for anything like that might work out in my favor. So I'll go ahead and throw this in here too. Maybe I'll end up taking it out later. Maybe not. We'll see. But we'll start with this as the setup. And I'll give you guys an update here in a month or so to see if anything has changed, see if anything needs to come out, what can stay in. But this is basically just another EDC pouch update for you guys. So let me know what you guys think. Is there anything you would take out, anything you would add to it? Let me know what y'all think. And I would love to see some of your guys' pouch setups as well on what you guys need for a daily basis. So thank you all for watching. I appreciate it. I'll see you in the next one.